can't just burn it.
8 drones. Why? I don't know.
I think some of the deputies carry drones, don't they?
We have 5 operators and 8 drones. There's a lot of money spent on turnout gear, and after the meeting, I didn't know about this.
What gear?
Turnout gear for the rescue team, because we pay for that, and I guess that's kind of an anomaly. I found out last night, we're one of the few EMAs that pays for their rescue gear for their people, I guess. But one concern that was brought to me by somebody in the fire department, which I did not know about until after the meeting, was, it sounds like maybe, if this is true, there are sets of gear at the fire station for these people and sets of gear at the EMA station for the same person. And why we're not using the same, the city's paying for, them to have one there, and we're paying for one at the EMA. I think that's something that I want to explore further and figure out what actually is going on there.
So I do know I've been in there, there's a rack of uniforms, or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
So, why do the rescue people, do some of the firemen, are they also the rescue people?
I guess there's a lot of overlap of our rescue and firefighters, like.
I suppose that maybe the dual turnout gear is probably for response purposes.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think, as we look at ways to save money, collaboration, I think is gonna be number one that's gonna save us. And if we could talk to the cities and the fire departments of, is this really necessary? Could we share, could we both, if this gets damaged, instead of spending $4,000 each of us, could we each spend $2,000 and go on and on? So I think that's a valid conversation that probably should be had.
And the turnout gear, not like the old days, it has expiration dates
Yeah,
too. And it's not like when my dad used to be on the fire department, they had the same equipment for
Till they die.
20 years, But
yeah. So I think it's just one of those concerns that I'm gonna continue to look at. The other thing that, in the educational line item, we budgeted $10,500 and spent $13,500. And there was a $4,095 charge for the Crisis Go, which is a software for our schools. And then another $3,990 for Crisis Go for the IVEV school district. And so I question, what is this app doing? Is this really necessary? That's $8,000 there, plus $1,170 out of the damage assessment program that we spent to Crisis Go. That's a lot of money that we're not assessing to the schools. And the concern that was brought back to me is, well, if we don't do this, they're not going to pay for it. Well, at what point do we say, people are gonna have to be responsible for their own needs. And I get this department is entirely important, it's very important, it does a great job, but I don't know how much more we can keep doing for everyone else. We're buying the radios for everyone, we're paying the maintenance for everyone, and for us to continue to pay for everybody's IT, things like that, I don't know about that. So lastly, I brought up the fact that every year that I've been on the board, at least the last 3, this department goes negative at the beginning of a fiscal year. And I was told it's because the county doesn't give them enough money. And I responded with, well, if we have money in the bank at the end of the year to buy a $12,000 set of Jaws of Life, maybe we don't do that. And maybe that helps with rolling into the next year. And like I said, this is one department, unlike Nick's is another one, that it goes into an entirely separate fund where it's not like we can just take it back. So
It would stay in there.
yes. So, just to wrap up my thoughts here, I think we've got it. One of the members did ask, like, well, what number do you want us to come down to? And I think if we want to talk about that, like, I just don't think we can continue to fund this department to what it's been at. And if we have extra money to buy things at the end of the year, that means to me that they don't need as much money coming into it in the first time. So I encourage us all to look through their budget and what's going on there. And if you guys can see things, I think it would be good. And then I can pass this around too. But I think it's something that we need to address because this is the one department that we can't say no to. So we have to come to them before they pass a budget. It's not like we can do anything after the fact. So this is one thing that I think we need to be really proactive on and make sure that, and like I said last night, because we can't say no to this department And when they come in higher and higher and higher every year, that does affect the rest of the county departments, because I can't cut this. And so this is taking out of the raises, this is taking out of insurance, this is taking out of everything for everybody. And so I think it's really, really important that we pay a lot of attention to it. And that's all I ask.
Done?
Done. Brent.
Hey, Nick.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good, how are you doing? Got a big package today. That's a Bears fan and a Rams fan. We got through the Green Bay Bears, because Joe's a Green Bay fan.
All right, our guys have been, a couple days of snow, or at least today. And then, the rest of the week, we've been cutting a lot of brush, really going to town on that. As far as the office goes, our two techs have been doing smaller bridge inspections, so bridges less than 20 feet. And we're also getting those input scanned into the computer and reviewing them. I know I'm getting a lot of emails from the DOT, start filling out your budget stuff with them. I don't know how we sit or what you want me to do. Just holding off for now.
Mhm.
Well, as far as like
He needs to raise numbers.
raise numbers,
No, I mean, I just kind of need to start putting stuff in.
like what you're gonna get
The
for
raise-
property tax revenue?
No, well, yeah, mostly just our revenue, and maybe if what I had proposed, in December is good, start putting that stuff in. Raises, I don't necessarily need that, because have you guys decided on the union? Do they get a certain,
We just met with them yesterday.
Yeah, we got it yesterday.
um,
We won't meet again until the first part of February.
okay. Well, I mean, raises are a, small part of our budget and stuff, but I need to start inputting
Revenue
everything
numbers?
else. Well, revenue, which I mean, I can put in, round numbers there. Usually our estimates are below what actually comes in anyway. There's no way of knowing what we're actually gonna get with like loss. My projects,
Projects that you have to coordinate with the DOT is what you're talking about?
well, I do all that anyway. That's something else. I have to submit my budget and 5-year plan.
Well, if you wanna know property tax numbers, I don't think you're gonna get any more, but that's me.
Okay?
I'll talk about it later. I ran some numbers with valuations and things don't look very good, so.
Well, yeah, which is, it's whatever, I mean, they're due April, but, it takes a little bit of time to put them in, and so. I just didn't know where we stand or how that's going. The concrete pad in Ladora, I just wanted to give a little shout out to our guys, because, we did have an initial estimate, a month ago from somebody, and we kind of thought maybe it was a little higher what we could do, and we took our guys out there and did the removal and some other things, and then we got a rebid to put the concrete down, and now the bid is $12,000 less than what was originally bid. So our guys did a good job and saved us $12,000. I do want to show you, we had a request for a stop sign at E and 305th. Usually, if there is anything that causes any sort of danger, I'm all for putting in a stop sign. There is nothing here that requires a stop sign. So the first page, there's 2 packets there. The first packet is the analysis and guidance that we write up. kind of a stop sign warrant, and then a bunch of pictures. And the second packet there is guidance. Being that stop signs are approved through the Board of Supervisors and resolutions, I will put it on next week's agenda, that if you guys want to put up a stop sign or not. To give you the rundown, at that location, it's very flat, you have very good sight distance both directions, and there are no knobs or hills that limit your view, and it is a T intersection. So I have my theory on the front page there for the warrant, and then the DOT, METCD, DOT guidance behind that. If you want to swing down there and take a look, that is up to you, but I'll put it on next week's agenda.
This goes with it.
Also working with vacation stuff, unused roadways, and McMean, and that Post Corner stuff. And then the Spring Rock contract, we finally got approval from the DOT, and all our paperwork was sent to them and reviewed, and I was able to get it out to the contractors this week.
It's gotta be some of the flattest ground around.
What's that?
It's gotta be some of the flattest ground around.
Yeah, it's pretty flat, and it's a T, so it's not like people should be blowing through. I can think of a few other spots on the, near there.
Did the request have a reason why? Did they say they had close calls?
They said that he said somebody blew through the T, took the corner and cut off his wife. And quote, it was a no-brainer to put one here. Well, it doesn't follow any of the guidelines. I don't know if they get overconfident that they can see both directions, but it's a T, it's a 90 degree, no turning lanes, traffic count on the one road is like 20. There are 5 or something. It's like literally as low as you can go. This one says 15. I saw another one, which is still about as low as you can go.
How often do we update those traffic counts?
We don't. DOT does every 4 years.
Okay. What year is that?
That's 2018. There should be 2022, and I believe they'll be coming around this spring.
Can you give us each a copy of that when it comes out?
Yeah, I don't even know if they may or may not send it. You can just find them on the internet. Type in Iowa DOT county maps or traffic maps.
How do they do that? Put the strips out?
Yeah, they'll put down strips down in certain strategic spots and then put it in their formulas from there. At least that's the way they used to do it. I think now they put down a heck of a lot more strips. I think last time they did it, there were strips everywhere. But it used to be, they would go like here, 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 and put it into a formula.
Yeah. I can still remember guys sitting in the car.
Huh?
I can still remember people sitting in the car. Or a horse. Horse count.
Yeah, high school kids, they hire high school kids to sit there.
Kevin's out there counting horses.
So, and we're working on some other things that haven't come through yet. I think we're going to have some good reports or good news and meetings in the next couple of weeks. So, yep, good things are turning.
Good.
Do you have any plans to do any of the ditch tree burning?
Yeah, I know that they were waiting for some snows to kind of do some burning. So I don't know if they'll be doing that today though or not, but we're still getting signatures and filing that with the.
I've got a huge pile at the county home. that you'd like to burn, I bet.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Too close to the interstate?
Absolutely not.
You know the pile, right?
I'm not even gonna be aware of the pile, no.
If I burn it, then.
That's up to you. That's up to you. I'm not touching
Since it
it.
originated on there, I should be able to burn it.
Do not look at me. I have no guidance. You can come over and I can help you go through the rules,
I'll have to do that then. 'Cause it-
but there will be nothing that says the engineer said it was okay. Not a damn thing. You can come over.
What were we talking about?
Yeah, I can come over and we can help, but
Yeah, I was gonna say, it'd be nice to have somebody, almost have somebody there to help keep pushing it together.
Don't you have a little tractor?
Can you leave a piece of equipment and I'll push it together?
Why don't you stop by? But
Bear asked me about getting it burned. We cleared all those trees off, the ones around that county home, we kept piling there.
yeah, we'll stop by. We'll look at all the laws.
Okay, I don't know if we'll make it today.
Whatever.
Okay. Anything else for Nick? Thank you.
Thank
Yeah, have a good weekend, Nick.
Yep, you guys too.
One more thing I forgot to say, if you flip that piece of paper, the packet that you have, yeah, go flip it back 2 pages, I think. The pink,
Yeah,
we did C60 money from the governor to replace equipment for the fire departments, right?
mhm.
73,000 and 124,000 the next year, is that right? Vice versa? Then
Okay, hold on,
$125,000 expenditure, which
Thanks,
both these are
Nick. Yep.
pass-throughs, but I didn't do anything with revenue on these sheets, it's just total expense. And to me, if we could do those kind of monies for one-time purpose, why didn't it ever come down that total expense, the bottom line? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I'd have to talk to you later about that.
But you see what I'm saying, if we had one-time money, if the total expenses should have gone down.
Should have been, like I said, just in and out, theoretically.
But yeah, but I don't have anything with revenue on there, that's only expenses. I think it goes that way.
I think it came from that way.
Oh, it did?
Did you see this?
No, I don't think we have.
Oh,
I'm sending that one.
You ready for me?
yes, sir.
Yeah,
Thanks.
all right.
Here you go.
I'm sorry. You ready?
Yes, sir.
So our call report for December, we had 152 responses, 116 of those were transports, 36 refusals. Anyway, for the fiscal year, we had 885, or we're at 885 transports. Responses, 641 transports and 244 cancels or refusals. So our average for the current fiscal year is 147.5 responses compared to 157.8 from the previous fiscal year. Transports were averaging 106 per month compared to 119. So that has a little bit of an impact on our revenue, being down transports. Cancels, refusals, about the same, averaging 40 a month. in the current fiscal year compared to 38 in the previous fiscal year. 30 times in the last month, both ambulances were busy at the same time. We staffed a backup ambulance for those 30 times. And then we had to request an out-of-county ambulance 5 times. Transfers, we had 20. That's it for call report going into finance. December expenses were $184,573 compared to a budget of $209,107. Year-to-date expenses actual were at $1,148,655 compared to a year-to-date budget of $1,254,642. So currently we're sitting $105,987 under budget. With the next claim, we did get our EKG monitor, so the next claims that we turn in that money for those, so we'll be right on budget with expenses after that. December actual revenue was $153,166, so we did get some catch up there with Medicaid. Year-to-date actual revenue, $603,732, compared to a budgeted revenue at this point of $652,250. So we're a little under in revenue compared to what we should be. We're $48,000 short of where we should be at this point in the year. Difference between actual expenses and actual revenue is sitting at $544,923 compared to a budgeted difference of $602,392. So overall, we're still positive in our cost variance as of today at $57,569. These don't change much, but average charge per transport, $1,554 compared to average revenue per transport of $932. Our current cost per response is $1,297 compared to our cost per billable, $1,791. Any questions on finances for now? Okay. Activities, our normal stuff, been a little busy as we trying to get new protocols implemented before the 1st of February and everything that goes into that process and medication updates. Preparedness meetings there that I've attended. Budget, I'm pretty well good on the non-wages portion of the budget. We're doing a lot of training. We got protocol review, training and tests, and then we're also doing our annual workplace safety training, our slip, strips, and falls, bloodborne pathogens, and that type of stuff. We're all getting done by the end of the month. Equipment, pretty well normal on the vehicles. The ventilators, they've been in for their preventive maintenance. We actually have 2 back now. One just came in, so we got 1 more to go. Then the EKG machines came in, and we got to get those set up and then have it in service to get those into service. So hoping to work on that more next week. Those just came in. Nothing really to report personnel wise. I guess any questions on ambulance before I go into other stuff here? Safety wise, drug screens, background checks, physical test, our 2025 stats there, we had 9 reported injuries, which is really low. 3 of those were reportable. We had just a half a day of missed days and this just 7 days of restrictions. So it was an outstanding year. Currently, we got 3 open cases. One was actually from 2025, it was a fall. And then that was reported a little bit late. And then we had a laceration and a back strain just last week that are still open cases, but everybody's fine at work. Our next safety meeting is next Tuesday. I'm going to reemphasize that, make sure we're reporting in 24 hours and that we use the designated provider. Nothing on HIPAA. I guess just going back to ambulance there a little bit. I included a sheet when I was working on budget. I was like, I need to break these out so I know, can kind of figure out what I need. I thought I'd just share that with you because I don't need anything from it or from you guys. I just thought it was kind of nice to realize where all these software costs going, what are they being used for, and then the middle section there are maintenance costs. A lot of that is batteries and cables and different things you don't think of till they break, and then pretty soon it's $500 for a battery or $500 for an EKG cable. And then you get down to AED batteries. those are what we have in all our first responders, our sheriff's office, conservation, and the courthouse. Those batteries last 3 or 4 years, we're taking care of replacing all those for the county ones and the EMS ones. We're not doing anything that's in school, city, or library, church, any of that. They're out, they can get them through us, but we pass on the invoice to them.
You guys maintain records on all those to know when they expire and stuff, so you
Yes,
notify them?
we do. We have an app we can use to,
I think I had that at.
yeah, that holds one app, yeah. So I just thought I'd share that with you, just for your information, since I was kind of putting that together when I was trying to put our budget together. And I mean, you're kind of guessing on, like, I don't know if I'm gonna have to replace 2 cables this year, or maybe none, you know. So, just an idea of what we have for different expenses. Kind of surprising when you look at some of the summer stuff costs.
Did we get an ambulance last year or the year before? 24, 25?
24, so we got one ordered, should be here in the fall of 26. And then I just made a little note on my budget. I didn't bring a spreadsheet or anything, but I'm expecting an increase of around 145,000 right now. Most of that's purchasing the new ambulance. We do have the $100,000 carryover in the current budget. So I guess technically you're looking at 45,000 maybe increase, but it all balances out. There was some other increases. Some of the medication costs have gone up. Disposable supplies have gone up significantly. Equipment repairs, just the cost of them, like that's kind of a sheet. And then we'd like to have an EMT class too. Get some more people trained. We were able to lower some expenses in fuel. I think fuel is going to go down like 5,000. And then vehicle repairs lower a couple thousand, just looking at the last 3 years where we're at. So, other than that, I assume we're going to have budget meetings coming up, go through that a little more detail, but I just wanted to give you where I'm at right now. So
I appreciate that.
you gotta know. Any questions or anything?
Are these software costs, are they yearly cost or?
Yeah, so those I kind of know. Those are a little bit easier to budget because you kind of know what they're going to be. There's just, everything is so electronic technology driven anymore, right? And so you got our communication with dispatch that communicates with our reports and our actual report software. And then there's a separate module that takes care of all our record keeping and certifications. And then there's a separate module to communicate between the EKG and the software. And then there's software for scheduling electronics, so it's all real time. It's really nice, helpful since we have that. The medication machine, we got 2 of those. That's $2,400 for 2 of them for a year. That's all tied in electronically, the inventory and everything. And there's an online training platform. The grant did cover that this year, and it has been covering that. So that's kind of in and out. And then our Office 365, which we got, have email and run the office, have Word, Excel, that stuff. The ventilators, we're just getting those done on 2-year maintenance, so we'll be good for 3 years, and then we'll have to do a 5-year maintenance. But we had to get batteries for them. Like, these were the ones that were donated from the state leftover, but it's still costing us to get them up and running. They all needed batteries. And then our EKG machines, those get annual maintenance. That's really not too bad. But if they need batteries, they don't need batteries every year. It's just, there's 2 batteries in every EKG machine, and there's 4 EKG machines. So when you do need batteries, you got 8 batteries you got to replace. Cables are always, they get frayed and you know, pull them up. So yeah, 80 batteries is what we go through. Cot repairs, we don't have that very often, but they just gouge you on cot repairs on certain people. You have to go through the manufacturer's designated people to, you know, it's like working on a tractor.
They got you.
We got you. I won't keep going on unless there's more questions.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
Have a good weekend.
You too.
Does anybody need a quick break before we drop down there?
I'm good.
Yeah, it's good.
Secondary road zoning reports. Recorder's quarterly report passed around. Ottawa County Secondary Roads Union negotiation discussion. We met yesterday with the union and the union rep. Part A, we can talk about that, right?
Article 9 you're talking about.
What?
Article 9,
The
the first page.
Yeah.
The first page.
Oh, sorry. Article 9, they would like to add a holiday.
You can just say it Christmas Eve.
They want Christmas Eve. Right now, my memory serves me right. They have a floating holiday in their department, and that's because they usually had to work on Christmas Eve, so we gave them a floating holiday.
So if they don't work on Christmas Eve, or if they aren't called in, they can have it off. Or if they are called in, they get an extra. I think I got to think about this, the only difference would be if we add this in there, is they would get holiday pay that day. That makes sense, when they do work on Christmas Eve. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So they want an additional holiday, or they want to change their?
They want to
floating-
add Christmas Eve.
They want to add.
So they don't want to make their floating holiday Christmas Eve, they want. an
I think
additional-
they want,
They want
no,
both.
they just add Christmas
Add
Eve
Christmas Eve.
and keep floating.
I guess I think initially that would have happened because a lot of times there's always a snowstorm on Christmas Eve. So they didn't get the day off anyhow. So we gave them a floating holiday, they could use whatever. That was to compensate for the,
Right. Not having Christmas Eve.
so these are just things, we don't need to go into deep discussion, you guys can think about it. Just if you have
Yeah.
any questions now, I mean, that's,
Right now, do they have the same holidays as everybody else?
yep.
Except for
floating.
Except for Christmas Eve. You guys will get Christmas Eve.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
They do not observe Good Friday as a holiday. Their floating holiday is, because that's our holiday, that's our floating holiday.
So do they give us holidays then?
They take the Friday before Memorial Day as their floating holiday.
Oh, so they still have one.
Yes.
You have the same amount of days.
Just
This would be added on.
Isn't,
So a floating holiday is designated, or a floating holiday, you can just take it?
Ours is just,
What is? I don't know if they could take it, whatever.
I think it'd be easier to.
Doesn't mean it, yeah.
Oh, I'm sure, would
Because
be.
otherwise, it's basically, yeah, that could be,
free call.
I was just considering, why don't they just take a little holiday on Christmas Eve then?
yeah, so food for thought there. Article 11. On-call pay was brought up again, but in a different format this time. It says, any employee who is subject to being recalled to his or her place of work or other site away from his or her home shall deemed to be in an on-call status and shall receive 1 hour of pay for every 4 hours in on-call status. So when we asked them questions, they said this was for when they have the snow policies, which was 4 AM to 6 PM, right? Wrote it down.
That's the balance.
4 AM to 6 PM, for those hours, they would get, for 14 hours, they would get 3.5 hours of on-call pay if they're not called in.
So they're,
still like on Saturdays, or
Saturday, Sunday.
So who determines,
that they're on call.
is that Nick's determination if they're on call or not?
TBD.
TBD.
And I did say, I think we should make sure we put in there that it is for snow events or snow emergencies only, because not that saying that they would do this, but you never know if it'd be like, oh, there could be a windstorm this weekend, we're gonna be on call, that could wreck things
So if
up.
it becomes a big deal, we can always change it later, but I think we should do a step at a time if you want to do it.
Mhm,
Yeah, I think that's,
mhm.
Something right?
Yeah, I'm buzzing.
So the supervisor would have,
Jeez. You're trying to get unelected, aren't you?
the supervisor would have to determine, that that's gonna be a need that night.
Mhm. Which they do now, early in the morning when they call in, according to,
Yeah,
that way they're not, they have to stay in town or don't party or whatever, so they're able to work.
So they're doing it now already, like the night before, saying, hey, we're probably gonna lose them tomorrow.
yep.
They're not,
So then,
not being compensated for it.
yeah, so then they have to change plans or, you know,
Well, yeah. Can't go out to certain places and things like that. So,
which I don't disagree with. I think we've been at this for what, 3 years in a row. It's been brought up.
We
I
have
think we've got-
multiple different variations of how to do this and never come to an agreement.
I kind of like this one better than, don't you think, Brandy? It's a little bit cleaner than doing some of the other proposals as far as accounting purposes go. But the other ones were just gonna get really messy. I think accounting wise, this is the easiest, and it's not, I mean, what was the top pay? $35, but I don't even think that was for the guys that would be on call. So $122.50 is what it would cost.
per employee.
How many letter grader routes do we have?
11.
Plus how many truck drivers? So let's say, I don't even know.
But they want paid, they don't want comp time
They don't pay,
or PTO.
which is probably better than comp time, in my opinion. But depends. We could counter it with comp time as well. Instead of paid, you get this much in comp time.
Yeah, I think either way, it's worth the same amount of money, right?
Yeah.
So,
Although when you do a payout, it's on the hours,
Current rate.
the current rate, yeah, so it could be more when they go to a payout.
I mean, if they cure it now and get paid out down the road.
Cause you could start off at, let's say, $30 an hour, and then you get,
I'm okay either way.
I think you just leave it as non-comp, but that's just me.
That's what they're asking for.
The second thing that they're asking for in this article is double time on holidays and Sundays. I would say no to that personally. We're time and a half for our other collective bargaining agreement, and I think we should keep it the same.
My only opinion is double time and holidays, it'd be for snow removal, it should be only 2 holidays at the most, Christmas and New Year's. Should be.
Valentine's Day. I guess they don't take that one off, do they?
It's not a holiday. It's not a holiday.
I'm just trying to think what else happens.
It's a holiday in your house.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Every day is a holiday in my house.
Well, if they get called out 4th of July or something.
That's why we have to put it in there for
Snow only.
snow. My opinion.
I'd like it to keep the same as our other agreement, but that's just me. But we can, yeah, I'll think about
That's
that.
a good point, though. It's only 2 holidays, basically.
Not really, though. You have Veterans Day, middle of November. Thanksgiving, 2 days.
Oh, yeah.
Day after Thanksgiving?
December, you've got 2. January, January 1st,
Christmas.
MLK Day, Christmas, MLK Day, New Year's Day,
So we're going to,
President's Day.
better not do that then.
I mean, not that it typically snows.
But it all takes a couple of those.
Right.
Heck, snows in October.
Mm-hmm. Did you just want to pass around the last one?
Yeah, that's fine.
Just in that group?
That's it, yeah. We don't, I haven't talked about wages yet, probably.
So yeah, keep thinking about that, what you guys think, and maybe get some feedback.
Think about it, like I said. We can talk, put it on the next week, so we'll talk about it again, or we have more questions until we have the next meeting.
So will this be a 3-year contract?
That would be, yeah.
That's our proposal.
Seems like a reasonable request.
It's probably the most reasonable we've done for
That's what I
years.
mean, compared to others.
Not saying we can get there, but it's the most reasonable one.
And the one thing to keep in mind, obviously, we give Nick a fixed amount of property taxes, so it doesn't really affect our overall budget, but it does affect his budget. You know, I don't necessarily know that it means less gravel or whatever it might be. I think that's a lot of our property tax revenue. But, you know, it does change his budget just a little bit, but it doesn't affect our end of it if we give him the same amount.
Just 2 pages, right? But
Yeah.
nothing stuck together.
So, any questions?
Did you see it? I did not, yeah.
I saw it.
I think, yeah, I'll get it.
What else do we have?
We do need to talk about insurance. I did finally get the information from Solutions about how I can send the information out to the departments for them to.
Start entering
Yes,
the Excel format, right?
yes.
Okay.
They should already be working on their worksheets.
Yeah.
Whether they are or not, I don't know. But I need to work on getting them the information for their insurances. At this time, is anything possibly going to change with that? As far as employee?
Contribution.
Yes.
I talked to Rick yesterday because I had a question about it. I ran a question about it, and it sounds like he's got some different proposals for us. So I think there could be a change, like some potential changes depending on what they are. Obviously, we'll listen to hear them out. I would say have them put in the renewal rate of 4% for now.
When the insurance committee's gonna meet with them, or are they?
Yeah,
meeting for
next
everybody?
Friday.
I was confused if he was thinking that was the Friday he was gonna come to the board.
I think it was just us for that one.
Okay, so we're gonna meet next Friday at, was it 11?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
I wasn't following this subcommittee. Like, I don't have any say in this.
Yeah, I think he usually meets with at least us two.
It'd
And then-
probably- it'd be nice if Randy could be there, I think.
I think Sarah usually came up in the past. Yeah, she did. But I don't know, yeah. Totally up to you if you wanna join, but, or we can have them come to the entire board, but I think it's easier to kind of make the
I'd rather-
sausage between,
I'd rather have you know it now first before you brought it to everybody.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll plan to meet next Friday.
Okay,
Also, for budget considerations. I'll just wait until after Katie presents.
we take a quick recess now. Kevin?
Yeah.
Get into that.
Let's go to number 9. And good timing. Northland Securities preliminary official statement consideration for Brandy to sign. Do you want to tell us what really that is?
I sure can. Sure. So, and this will officially be on the board's agenda to approve for next week. But so when you're going into the bond market, the county is putting together a preliminary official statement, and this document is used to disseminate to potential investors. And so it has a lot of details on what the structure, what the legal authority to do the borrowing. And then also it has other details, including statistics of the county. So recent valuations, recent tax rates, top 10 taxpayers, things like that, that basically would be important things to investors to take a look at as they're looking at potentially buying these bonds.
Because they're afraid that we're not gonna pay it back.
Well, and it's a regulated market,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
there's just a certain amount of statistics. Every time it's a general obligation bond, there's a certain amount of tables that all go into the document that they take a look at. They look at how much debt a county has. They look at all those types of things. And so with the accuracy of the document, had that, kind of signing off on the information that's going into that document, and it'll go on the agenda officially next week for the board to actually approve that document. So I think Brandy has on here just that form and all the documentation that's been provided. Northland takes a look at that information. Allers and Cooney takes a look at that information, but it is Iowa County's document, so you are officially kind of signing off on that as well. It is, when you approve it, it is in preliminary form. The final document doesn't get finalized until the bonds are sold and in the market, because then the final information is put on there. Wendy, did you have anything that you saw on there that had any concern?
Does it go off of taxable valuation or 100%?
Both values are put on there.
If you look at one, we look good. If you look at another one, we don't.
And that's pretty typical across,
Yeah,
we're all
across area,
across, especially like rural counties, you'll see the difference between the two. So, but yeah, it's looked at, both ways. And I did see that it looked like values did go up from last year. So that was pretty good.
The 100% did, yeah, not the taxable though. I don't think the taxable went up. Unless,
the taxable value for debt service, it had some very similar.
for debt service.
When I was looking at yesterday.
Who's this one? Who's that one? That's interesting, you don't know.
I have no idea who it is.
It has everything else. I don't know that one, I don't know that one either. You know that one? You know that one?
Do you have a document on taxables?
I just put that from just yesterday.
I have that book here somewhere.
And then, yes, and I just updated it with the values that I pulled from the Department of Management.
Because the Department of Management doesn't have 27 on there yet for taxable.
It was as of yesterday.
Really? That was this morning.
I would have thought that Leesburg had more employees than.
I wonder, is that necessarily the
and I
top
was,
10 or is it
yeah,
just?
just a list, and I saw that that was on, that was on there, that was one kind of note, I thought
I've
we might
got-
drop that, we might drop that one off
Okay.
versus, you know,
I was thinking the same thing.
Oh,
Where did you find it? Mine goes to 26. Assessment year 24, fiscal year 26. 27 was on there?
25, yeah, assessment year 25 or 26, 27.
So I'm like, what? I asked Brandy for a report. I'll double check. Okay. Maybe it's on, I know their website's wonky at best, so. Let me try going on the non-county one. So,
From that here, it's not able.
I'll try doing it the report style. I see on the report it was under 25.
For assessment year 25.
No, by fiscal year 25, I think. I'll try. I'm just trying to make sure because I ran some numbers this morning based on a report that I got and then. Yeah, mine matches, what Brandy had. Which I think goes down.
Just down a little bit.
Yeah, not a lot, 43 million. Do you want, actually have a copy of this? Maybe you can go. This is what I had. Later. I have an extra copy, so you can have that. So I don't think they're always so behind on it.
Yeah,
So every
and
year that I do-
I saw that, the value of it, and sometimes they do get posted and kind of get pulled down too. So,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Every time I do property tax modeling, it's like, ooh, I have to just FOIA request it or go to Brandy or. But it looks like if you go to, you have, so some of the reports are not live, but if you go by levy authority and county, I think it has assessment year 25. Which. I believe matches. Yes, it matches Brady's report from this morning.
Are there any questions on the Northland Securities preliminary official statement consideration? And is there a motion for Frankie to sign?
Make the motion for Brady to sign.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion approved.
Do you want me to send this to you at all? Or you good?
Fine. Yeah, I've got the same. Showing that I'm not sure right now.
What does it show? You text that to me?
Yeah, it's on my personal phone, so
Oh,
it's gonna
okay.
take me a second.
Yeah.
My work phone wasn't giving me access, but yeah, I'll text that to you. If you go to the Department of Management and it's taxable value, by individual levy authority. But yeah, it'll take me a second to get it from my personal over.
I'm pulling up too.
10:15. Is there a motion to go into public hearing?
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Let's get a roll call. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. In public hearing on the authorization of a loan agreement and issuance of notes for evidence of the allegation of county that they're under. Written comments, public comments. David? Don't have to go out of the public hearing to do the resolution, correct?
Yes.
Motion to go out?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion approved. Resolution 2026-01-16, instituting procedures to take initial action.
Basically what this is after you've held the public hearing, you have the authority to go ahead and borrow for the emergency management meeting. So this basically is a resolution saying, hey, we know we'll be taking next steps at some point to move forward. I do have just a summary of what the financing will look like at this point. Kind of take a look at just for some guidance and any questions that you have.
I'm stretching. Heidi, is debt service with utilities?
That one is, this one is not, because this report has both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the non-tip, including GE, is what I look at for general fund.
Oh, so you're looking at the general fund value and not the taxable value for debt service.
Yeah,
So
that's where we're-
That's the difference
yeah.
between the two. So I was
Yes.
looking at what is.
Yes, I just want to make sure I'm like
And then this value you've got here is for the general.
bonding purposes.
Or
yeah.
no, you're the one you're looking at for like the general fund, which
Yes.
doesn't have the tip value. I have the one that
Yes.
has the tip value in it.
Yes, yeah, because debt service does go on that, yeah. That's, yeah, miscommunication on my part.
Yeah, so we're, yeah,
We're
that
both
does
good,
make
yeah.
sense.
I just want to make sure, because I'm like, I spent a lot of time putting some numbers together, and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
And I do believe, if I'm looking at that 1288, that might be just double checking to see if that one's the one that is. And that's the value for debt service from last year, and so this other value is then just the operating value. so it's
Yeah.
likely that they may have gone up, to get value to value.
On that, for that
For this.
perspective, yeah, for general fund though, yeah, we did go down. Yeah.
All right, so finance plan here. So we're showing 6,040,000 general obligation capital loan note series 26A. This financing includes just the financing for the E911 project. This doesn't include refinance of your outstanding E911 as the rates haven't gone down high enough to do a refinancing. So it's just to finance the new portion. It is going to be a general obligation of the county, meaning that the county has the full-fledged taxing authority to use a debt service levy to pay it back. Just like the other bonds outstanding, they'll be paid back on a semi-annual basis. December 1 with interest payments due and June 1 of principal and interest due. Estimated total interest cost of 3.41%. There will be a prepayment option or refinancing option after June 1 of 2033, meaning any of the bonds after that can be paid off early or can be refinanced at that time. The reason we have that period of locked-in rates is that investors want to have kind of a guarantee on their investments. They want to have some sort of a guarantee on their investments. We can shorten that up. You'd see a higher interest rate. We can make that longer. You'd see slightly lower interest rate. So with that standard call date or prepayment option. The rating, the county does have its rating call later on today. We currently have a Moody's AA3 rating with your other outstanding bonds.
Which is good.
Which is very
I think
good.
we went up last time, didn't we, when we did the Moody's call?
Yes,
Before we sat down and did that?
yes. And we'll have that call every time you go out into the bond market. You have to go back through that rating process. And the costs associated with that rating have been included in the bonds as well. Tax status. So these are going to be taxes of bonds, meaning that the investors do not have to pay taxes on that. So that's where we're seeing that lower interest rate. And they'll also be bank qualified, meaning that the county is not issuing more than 10 million in a calendar year. So if there's any other projects or any things like that, in order to kind of get where these interest rates are at, you don't have any other plans, so we're going to go ahead and move forward with that. Bank qualified funding. Let's see. So the type of sale is it'll be negotiated. Northland Securities will offer these bonds into the market. They will be priced. Northland will take them out in the market on Thursday, January 29th. And then the board will consider that and lock in that interest rate on Friday, January 30th. Proceeds of these, proceeds will be put together. I have here basically showing you the breakdown of how that $6,040,000 will be spent, showing the deposit to the construction fund, underwriter's discounts, which is the financing fees, cost of issuance, including legal fees, rating fees, paying agent fees, and then you do see a rounding amount that can be anywhere from $0 to $5,000 as bonds with $5,000 increments. And so that can go back to the project fund as well. Page 3 has the calendar of events. With today, we just held the hearing for the financing, so we have the authority to go ahead and borrow with the rating call later today. Next week, approving that official statement document and receiving your bond rating. then going into the bond market, and locking in interest rates January 30th. So that's when that date, you'll actually have an interest rate terms all locked in. A couple weeks later, you'll have what is called an issuance resolution, meaning that everything is put together in a legal form, basically signing off on every step that you've taken at that point, putting it all into a legal form, getting that clear to close, and having those proceeds available by March 3rd. So we're jumping through the process. And I have a preliminary debt service schedule here with a slightly lower payment in 2027, and then structured for 10 years, basically evenly throughout. The reason that first payment is a little bit lower is because you do have one other, the 2018 has a payment here, so you'll have relatively even payments through the structure until the 2016 is paid off in 2032, and then you'll have a lower debt service payment. Any questions on the current financing? And then I did update this debt book with just that structure. And I also plugged in the values that have been put on the Department of Management. So I can give you copies of those. So that way. Okay, we've got the first page on page 2 on the left side. I did plug in the values for fiscal year 27, so we saw some significant growth in both the 100% and the taxable value from prior years, which is good. A decent amount of that is due to you still have another year of the wind turbine values coming in, and then just other values have gone up. And then just one other page I'll kind of note here on page 4 with the estimated $6,040,000. Let's show that debt service levy will go up to about 78 cents with the new value. Any questions from the standpoint on the financing plan?
Any more questions? Okay, we'll take a resolution vote. Is there a motion for resolution 2026-01-16, instituting procedures to take additional actions.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Roll call vote.
Deegan,
Aye.
Susan,
Aye.
Ross,
Nay.
Meyer.
Aye.
Morchos.
Right.
Thank you.
Resolution 2016-01-16 is passed. That's it for now, right now, right? So we have to have you step back for a minute for some of this to come up, sorry.
Yeah, that's right. That's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Heidi.
Have a good weekend.
You're staying,
I'm
right?
hanging around for the reading hall that's at 11, but yeah, I'll be back.
Well, that's your meeting with her at 11.
Mhm. Mr. Robinson?
Hello, Kane. Hello, Rob.
Good morning.
No, I tell you, this budget, we're all falling.
Good thing we got the big bottle.
Yeah. Anybody else need ibuprofen?
Oh, yeah, they ain't coming right now.
It's finally kicking in for me.
Tension headache.
Mr. Chairman, we have the proposals here to pass out and one for the officers, so if it's appropriate, we'll do that.
You have one right here now. Here we have extras.
Did you want to present or just want us to read it?
I think the main thing is just to go over it, but to assure the board that proper procedures were carried out. Everyone was there, with the exception of Mr. Boland, who was there on the computer. And the vote for the motion is recorded at the bottom, 5 yes and 2 no. Those voting yes were Robinson, Robbie, Ballard, Barons, Claypool, and voting no were Swift and Boland. Everyone made I think, a very good presentation in accordance with the law, what they believed was an appropriate raise, an appropriate salary. Obviously, the minutes of the previous meeting were approved and normal procedures were followed. At the end, after everyone made their presentations and there was discussion of individuals, Mr. Robbie made a motion to consolidate them into a single presentation, which is what you have in front of you. And it lists the ending salaries for 2025 and the future salaries presented for 2026. There's not a lot to be said beyond that, except that we asked if there was any other business. The county attorney was there. We asked him if he knew of any other business for the board. There were a fair number of county officers, which are listed on page 2, and others in the audience, but I listed those that I personally recognized. And so this is the presentation of the compensation board presented for your future action.
To get to the 13%, they used what?
Well, virtually each officer presented salaries that they reviewed that are in force around the state in jobs that pertain to the business of that particular position. They had looked at them in considerable detail and then presented the salary that you have in front of you. The one, of course, that I knew the most about, since I'm the sheriff's representative, I did the same thing. We looked at police departments in the general area and the highway patrol. And I came up with this appropriate recommendation of 145,349. In that regard, we looked at Newton, Indianola, Norwalk, Boone, State Patrol, Cedar Rapids Commander, and various other things that are surround this area. And that went into the presentation of that amount. As I listened to other presentations, they all did the same thing. The people that were there for other officers had done the same thing with regard to their positions. That is to say, they looked at what other people were making in government jobs, approximating the one that they were there for. They are there, of course, as a representative of an individual office holder, but also as a member of the board.
You know, if they looked at like healthcare benefits, what each other office pays, or?
No, they generally looked at the stated salaries. There isn't a and of course, you can do a lot of research on each individual job, but the thing that is conveniently available for most people are the published salaries, the gross salaries that are published. Now, some salaries, of course, you have to be careful when you're going over them, because sometimes as people retire, there's a payment, an extra thing or something like that that can inflate a salary. I think in the case of the sheriff, we were careful to look for that and not include those kinds of things. But it's my observation that each of the representatives were pretty careful in looking at appropriate salaries. And they, of course, had mainly the published salaries for those positions.
But I guess what I'm, indicating is I appreciate the diligence of the you guys in your committee. But I was at the meeting, you saw me there, and I was just, when it was mentioned, we didn't follow what the recommendation was last year. There was no mention of our health insurance went up 14%. And some of our members, employees, have the option of picking out certain choices of medical plans. We have a free single, I believe, and a free family. That went up 14% last year. And as the subcommittee, we talked about how can we do this and try to bring up salaries as well. We felt the option was that we covered the full increase of the health insurance, which is a benefit. a definite benefit, but we just felt we couldn't lay more responsibility on the county. So, I mean, if anybody thinks we weren't thinking about it, we were, so.
Yeah, there's no criticism of anybody in this thing, but I think we could make the same conclusions if you look at the other cities here, Newton, Indianola, Norwalk, and the state. They all had similar problems to deal with in setting their salaries for the future. And I have no reason to believe that Iowa County would be any different than
Well, ours
those.
was unique because our insurance didn't go up because it went up because of the usage. Our group plan had a lot of usage the year before, so we went up probably more than some others. Maybe I know other people took in property insurance and health insurance too, so we do. There was a comment made at the meeting, not understanding, but we are trying to work very hard at it.
I believe that comment, I have it in my notes as quote, zero consideration is what we took. And I definitely disagree with that. Property taxes in Iowa County for our portion of it increased 13% last year with 0 raises. And what more could we really do? I don't know. And so the fact that people are saying that we, gave 0 consideration, I thought was inaccurate. Talking about overinflated numbers to go off of Kane, I will respectfully disagree with tying to the most expensive lieutenant. I pulled up the salary book. The base salary is 122, and I think the individual that is tied, that we're talking about here, has an extra stipend for some work with the University of Iowa. I would have preferred it be tied to that 122 base salary or the average of the salary of all the lieutenants.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
The lieutenant, I passed it out at that meeting, but the lieutenant that was tied to,
Yes, I know you passed things out, but we looked at things that other people passed out. So
well, I guess I
You're
should
free
say,
to pass out anything you like.
yeah, well, I guess I should say, I gave it to my comp board representative. I told him he could pass it out if he wanted to. I gave him the option and he chose to. So I should say he did. But, there is a discrepancy there. I also want to address the oral comments and the written comments of yours saying that we are required to follow these recommendations. We got a county attorney opinion in verbal and in writing last year after the comp board meeting that says that we can cut these recommendations and we are legally allowed to. So I just want to clarify that.
May I say that's a complete, I'll be kind, a complete misrepresentation of what I said. Total, complete misrepresentation.
I'm sorry.
What I said
but-
is there is some controversy in state government and local government about the meaning of these things. And it is yet to be decided. It is true that there is an opinion from the Attorney General's office that you presented. It's not an Attorney General's opinion, and that is true. There are other people with other opinions, and there are court decisions that are being contemplated and things like that. So all I said was it is a matter of controversy.
But I mean, in your written statement, you said the Board of Supervisors is required to follow the recommendations of the Compensation Board as outlined in the code. And we're not, I just want to clarify, because I know some of the supervisors in this room had wondered if that is really the case. And I want to go back to the opinion from our county attorney, not the AG, that we were given last year. And that's who represents us, who says that we have the ability to cut these. So I just want to clarify, because I don't want anyone to think that we have to do this, because I did run the numbers and it is a lot of money. And before I get into the numbers part of it, I want to address some more of the commentary at that meeting that we are, quote, kicking the can down the road and that we're behind and we get more and more behind. And personally, I don't agree with that. I don't buy into this notion of keeping up with the Joneses, because, I mean, when we look at the salary surveys and Polk County goes up, the next county falls in line, we're never going to ever catch up. And we're always going to be behind if you're going to look at it that way. And it's just hard to compare. Like John said, staff numbers, play a large role in wages, how many people you have underneath you, to help with your job. And, you know, I know a lot of us, me included, I'm a private sector business owner. We don't have this data to compare to, but we can still manage our own businesses without having to say, you know, we got to keep up with every single business. So, you know, that being said, I passed this out for everybody, the numbers of what the raises would cost Iowa County. And the top portion is the dollar amount tied to the 13 and 15% raises. The total would be $417,836, which would be a 4% increase on property tax revenue from this fiscal year. And if history prevails here in what has typically been done, where the auditor, treasurer, recorder wages get applied to everybody else, that's an additional 1.1 million essentially to a total of 1.5 million, which is a 14% property tax increase. And obviously, I think we can all agree at this table that's unrealistic. We just talked about valuations, and I passed out the numbers for our taxable valuations. They've gone down 43 million because of the rollback. The general fund last year, we raised 4.465 million. And so at this point, if we were to take our taxable valuation, and because we can legally take our general levy rate back up to 350, we're still short $108,000.
Okay, I don't know how this is all gonna go together, but Kane's here to give the board recommendations, not.
Yeah,
budget discussion.
This
I
isn't
think
really
these are
budget, but this is
these
saying
are-
we're already
This
behind.
is two different discussions.
It isn't and it isn't, because
No,
we're already
it is.
behind.
He
Yeah.
is in here to give the recommendations.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later then, but all I
That's
wanna say
fine.
is we're already behind. I don't know how we're gonna come up with money to even float without raises this year. We're gonna have to get really serious. And overall, I disagree with a lot of the notions that were said in that meeting, and especially with the fact that we took zero consideration because we spent hours and hours on this budget trying to find a way to fund raises, and it just wasn't in the cards. So that's the end of my comments.
Is there any other questions for Mr. Robinson?
Again, I appreciate everybody coming in, putting it together, so.
Thank you.
Sorry, just got a bad headache. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Mr. Chairman.
Have a good weekend, guys.
We need to probably a motion to accept the presentation.
I'll make a motion to accept the compensation board's presentation.
I'll second.
All fair say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay.
Abstain. I have mixed feelings on that. So,
Like
are you ready for budget now?
just like I said, I don't know where they got the numbers. I just went off that as where they came up with those numbers. I went through the state deal, and I went by population, the three above, the three below us.
What were your averages? Will you read them out?
Supervisors were really close.
What was that?
The average was 39,406.
Okay,
You want me to tell you what we are too?
what we're at currently?
We have it right
No, we
here.
have it right here.
29,267, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Auditors, the average was 79,071.
So 071.
79,071.
Okay.
The recorder was, excuse me, 77,997.
77977?
Yeah.
Okay.
Treasurer was 78,501. And I guess that's, I didn't get, I didn't do the sheriff, the attorney. Attorney is wild.
I did a couple numbers on the sheriff this morning. So I just took the average of what was presented, but took that base salary for the lieutenant down to that 122,428. The average there was 142,710. And I know maybe you guys agree with me, maybe you don't, but I'm a firm believer that when we're looking at police chief salaries, we need to take out, and using a population number, we need to take out the cities with police chiefs and police departments, because we are not financially or administratively in charge of those departments and their law enforcement. And so that takes I sent it to our comp board reps, our population out of 10 something. And so I looked at Lamar's, Waverly, Pella, Spencer, 2 up, 2 down on that. And the average with that then comes down to 134, 194. Just food for thought. I mean, it doesn't matter anyways, because whatever we do here, we're gonna have to cut them all the same. So we can't just,
I think we
well, I guess we don't have to,
change
yeah.
that.
Yeah, they did change that.
But there again, are these people getting the same benefits? And I know we're just looking at salaries, but it all comes down to what we can do here.
Right.
So we can talk about what these averages are.
What I was trying to point out though is, well, the numbers I gave you isn't nearly the increase that these are.
Well, and part of the increase too was he added another 3%, wasn't it, Abby?
Yeah,
When he
5.
averaged it out,
It was
he
a
said
5.
if he didn't add another, was it
It was 5.
5?
It was
Yeah, another-
7.365 plus 5.
Because he said we'd be behind next year if we didn't get the extra 5. So that's how they came out with the 13. So he actually had an 8.3.
I mean, that's a valid point, but you can't guess what other people are gonna get this year. I'd rather chase them than be ahead of them.
Well, I think the point was that 0 was given last year, so it's the 5 is, the 7 point is the catch up, and then a 5 for this year. But, one thing I will say, I know it was stated that, everybody gave numbers. I think the only person that said anything about comparable numbers is the auditor's representative and the sheriff's representative. I don't think anybody else presented what salaries are looking at. They all just went along with the auditors.
Who's Jake?
That's the auditor.
Oh.
He was the first one to speak behind the sheriff, and then I have no notes of anything, like, he had at least had an average, and then he gave us some lows, and then.
A couple of others said they looked at it, but then they just didn't present their numbers, they said.
And
Wait. I think they're supposed to provide us with their homework too, that's part of the new bill.
I have Michelle's packet downstairs and I have Lynn's packet as well.
Okay. Good, I just wanna make sure we have it somewhere.
Thank you.
Do you have the trainings? That would be good. But, there's just no way that we're gonna be able to afford this.
even if we could, I don't know if we should,
Yeah,
just based on life-size counties. Sorry.
Well,
I think it's Heidi.
we're not planning to decide today.
No.
Anyhow, are we?
I don't think so.
But I am gonna need to get some kind of number to the departments so they can start figuring out.
I did,
We got 9 minutes.
yeah, I did reach out to Galloway on arbitration rates. And it's 2.8 for non-public safety and then 3.75 to 4 for public safety.
Secondary is 2.8.
That was for what?
For the arbitration rates, like if we, for the unions, if we throw out a number, like if it goes to the state for arbitration, what's the minimum they're gonna say you have to give? So if, as long as you're above that,
It's 2.8, what?
2.8 and 3.75 to 4.
All 3.75, 2.4.
2.4, that's kind of weird.
No, 2, 4, like 3.75 dash 4, between, yeah.
Oh,
I did the numbers on the 3.75 on the sheriff's office, and that would be 46,000. I think that's all on your sheet. So you guys will see, I ran some, you know, I sent that email out about, does anybody have big projects coming up? Obviously, Adam talked about his ambulance, conservationist projects, EMA we can't control, and that's going up, potentially. So it's gonna be a tough budget. I have 2 ideas down at the bottom there for you, to float some more things. So we can talk about that when we have more time, and maybe I can run some more.
Before we get to that, also, because we're out of time, are we meeting next week during the week? We'll get you start. You really can't till we get sheets back, right?
I can give them the insurance stuff, but I'm ready for it. Do you want me to have them figure their insurance at 4% or 4.1?
Whatever, 4.1, so.
We probably should need to talk about what kind of raises we're gonna get, at least so we can get working on them.
And as far as insurance, employee contribution to county contribution, leave it the same for now.
For now, I mean, I can't tell you what we would change till we,
I just don't want to have them do their budgets 4 or 5 times again.
well, that's why I kind of think maybe we need to wait. We don't even send it out till after the insurance meeting. And then next Friday, we probably need to kind of get a rough idea.
So we're not gonna meet until Friday.
I don't think there's anything to do.
But unless we can push that meeting up with him before our Friday meeting, that might be helpful.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, we're gonna have Friday's meeting, we still ain't gonna have that information
Because you're meeting with them on Friday, or
After the meeting.
after the meeting. So maybe if we, I'm pretty open next week, so. Yeah, it's up to
But I
you.
can squeeze something on Tuesday. That'd be my only day that I could squeeze something in.
Tuesday,
Or Wednesday, potentially.
I'm all day Wednesday, I'm open, and Tuesday morning till 2 o'clock. I'm open. After 2, I'm not.
Okay, we'll chat afterwards and
We'll email Rick. You said it because your schedule's more busy than mine.
okay, is that it?
Yeah.
I think that's all I have. I think I'm finally gonna shut up.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So,
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
aye,
Opposed, say nay. Motion adjourned.
you have to be here.
any fund balance
Oh.
came in at 30.